In a sleepy southern town, an unexpectedly violent scene. A mob of angry whites chanted racially charged slogans on one side, while equally incensed counter-protesters advocated for civil rights on the other side. National headlines. Decades-old grievances and the nation's deepest racial wounds were on display. Talk of the start of the white civil rights movement filled the air as America's liberals warily evaluated the appeal of a revanchist white supremacist movement that would bring the likes of David Duke to the national stage. 30 years before the clashes in Charlottesville, this was Forsyth County, Georgia, after a series of protests over the region's long legacy of racist violence and de facto segregation that brought national media attention. And then, as today, an ascendant media figure inserted herself into that morass in an attempt to create understanding where there seemed to be laughably little hope of it. Oprah Winfrey. Winfrey's segment, filmed on location in Forsyth County, was more of a ratings success than a true healing moment. But that hasn't dissuaded her, America's premier therapist, cultural interlocutor and spiritual guide, to name just a few of her distinctions. From turning her eye to our most politically sensitive topics time and again over her now 4 decades long career in broadcasting, accepting the Golden Globe Cecil B. DeMille Award Sunday night for outstanding contributions to the world of entertainment, Winfrey placed herself at the center of the conversation again, offering a rousing defense of the press, touting its ability to expose tyrants and victims, and secrets and lies, and championing the Me Too movement of women speaking out against a culture broken by brutally powerful men. It was a speech perfectly pitched to capture liberal imaginations, and it worked like magic, setting off a day of frenzied media speculation and earnest chatter on the left. Would Democrats really support a celebrity presidential candidate? Does Oprah have what it takes to knock out Donald Trump? But just what, exactly, does Oprah believe? Noble and well-timed though they may be, Winfrey's gestures in support of women's rights and compassion in the public sphere do not a political platform make. From the start, the former talk show host has skillfully walked the tightrope between political advocacy, as a reliable Democratic donor and vocal Obama booster, and political engagement. But running for office would mean staking out political ground, and potentially alienating people on the other side of the fence, which is not exactly part of the universalist Oprah brand. Winfrey has consistently placed herself just close enough to the political fray to exert her gravity on it, but not close enough to be burned by its heat, a privileged status a presidential campaign would sorely test, not least of all a contest against a brawler like Trump. Squaring off against the president would call for an opponent with the confidence to wade into the muck of America's racial discontent, but also the gracefulness to find the common ground Trump so frequently salts behind him. Exactly the kind of high-wire actor young Oprah Winfrey attempted at the start of her broadcast career. The mid-1980s were a heady time for black politicians, especially in Chicago. Harold Washington, the city's first black mayor, was elected in 1983. Future U.S. Senator Carol Moseley Braun represented a portion of the city in the Illinois House of Representatives, and a young Barack Obama, fresh out of college, absorbed it all during his work as a community organizer on the city's south side. Winfrey was breaking barriers of her own, having overcome widespread skepticism on the part of stodgy white producers and executives to become not just a star broadcaster but an Academy Award nominee for her performance in Steven Spielberg's The Color Purple. On Martin Luther King Jr. Day in 1985, Winfrey hosted then-Mayor Washington alongside musician Stevie Wonder on a star-studded episode of AM Chicago, an early incarnation of The Oprah Winfrey Show.